good morning to all our distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, directors, respected principals, deans, learned delegates from corporate and academia, workmate fraternity, research scholars, dear students, representatives from media, and everyone present here. My name is Swati Basu, working in the capacity of an assistant professor in English and Communication Group at Bhavan's Institute of Management Science, Kolkata. It is my privilege and pleasure to extend a warm and cordial welcome to each and every one of you for your kind acceptance to the invitation for the Eastern Region Deans and Directors Meet and the Faculty Development Program being organized by Association of Indian Management Schools. Standing in such a challenging situation, such a meeting via the virtual platform becomes all the more significant as it aims to professional development opportunity about continuing educational issues and trends. The mandate of Future Skills, with its focus on preparing the workforce for a challenging and technologically driven economy, provides an opportunity for continuing education leaders to participate in discussion, share best practices relating to the needs and key drivers of success, relating to the development of approaches, collaboration across institutions and with business, industry, and our organization. Well, as the mood vibrates with optimism, let us see this opportunity in the next two sessions with the generation of new ideas and partake of growth. Let me welcome you again. Moving on, we request everyone to stand as we mark the opening of the session by lighting the lamp, a hallowed tradition invoking divine grace to take us from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge and wisdom. The lamp, sir. Vishnu, can you please play?
Yeah, I'm calling him. He's just starting.
Thank you. Professor R.C. Bhattacharya, Vice Chairman, Globson Business School, has his education in strategic thinking and management from Wharton Business School, USA, MBA from Cranfield University, UK, postgraduate diploma in management science from Staffordshire University, UK, and masters in metallurgy from Institution of Metallurgists, London. The core area of his education includes strategic management, strategic marketing, corporate governance. He is an alumnus of the Cranfield Business School, UK, Wharton Business School, US, and North Staffordshire, UK. He was head of marketing Indian Oxygen Limited, now BOC India Limited. He was also the senior vice president marketing with one of the Aditya Birla Group companies. He has been teaching industrial marketing, marketing of services, strategic marketing, and other topics of marketing for many years and offers first-hand experience in strategic alliances and brand building in industrial markets, corporate marketing, relationship marketing, loyalty building, and so on. With this, may I now request Professor R.C. Bhattacharya, Chairman, AIMS West Bengal Chapter, to kindly propose his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Swati. In spite of saying don't say more than 2 sentences, you have told much. Anyway, good morning to everybody. Good morning from Kolkata. Honored dignitaries and friends, I'm indeed pleased and overjoyed that I have the privilege of welcoming all of you at the Deans and Directors meeting today. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I remember Globsin had organized a Deans and Directors meeting at Kolkata about 12 to 14 years ago. The venue was Globsin Crystals, 600,000 square feet building of Globsin campus at that time at Salt Lake. I remember stalwarts like Professor M.R. Rao from ISB, Father Abraham from XLRI, Dr. Uday Salunke from Wellington, and many others. They came to Kolkata. Unfortunately, since then, we had not been able to organize any such Deans and Directors meeting in Kolkata, and it was a problem. It was really a sore feeling for us. It was our present president, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, who encouraged us and told us that somehow you do it. And my friend, Dr. Ramakant Patra, he was also very much that we must do something. And we were about to organizing this in a five-star hotel, perhaps at Oberoi or somewhere. And immediately after February, we were just thinking, suddenly this new problem of coronavirus has come. And since coronavirus has brought darkness, that is why I suggested that we have this song, Tamosoma Jyotirgamoyo. Now, of course, today's success is because of Dr. Patra and his team, but my other colleagues, Dr. Ajay Pathak of ExPresident, Dr. Tapas Shah of IMS, Dr. Jain Mukhopadhyay of Heritage, Dr. Goitik Das from ISWBM, and I see Chinmoy Jana is also there. They all worked hard to make this program a success. One can say, what is the hard work about this when there is no travel involved, no facilities involved? But we must remember that we are in a new situation and the new world. All of us are new to this and we need a new norm. In fact, even last evening, we have been struggling hard how to ensure synchronization of the lighting the lamp with Tamosoma Jyotirgamoyo. But thank very much to Vishwarup and Joshiji and Swati to make this happen today properly. I take this opportunity to thank the IMS, Dr. Sharma and Dr. Upinder, but Venkat Sarlu and Joshiji for helping us in every possible way. A few words of Globsin may not be out of place here. Globsin was established by our visionary chairman, Mr. Bakram Dasgupta, in 2002 as an alternative system of teaching management. See, I had the pleasure of teaching at IIM Calcutta for 18 years. But there we used to take students with 99 percentile CAT. Now, what happens to the people who have got 70, 80%? Do they not aspire? Are they not suitable to be managers? And therefore, we felt that we should have another tier where we have the people of 70%, 80% CAT, but become as good as I am. So we thought that a NESCOM study found that not more than 60% of our graduates get jobs, not because of their dearth of jobs, but because they are not skilled enough. So at Globsin, we started with giving skills as well from the day one. And then we had all our faculty which were professionals. Later on, we had various programs in collaboration with Calcutta University, Jadavpur University, Coventry University, Glasgow University, Tulane University, London University, and now with Malaysian University of Science and Technology. We have heard from them, we learned from them. There is also a need for research. So today, most of our faculty are PhDs, and even our students are doing some research. Now, Mr. Dasgupta ran the school for quite some time, but today, our trustee and director is Rahul Dasgupta. He had his entire education starting from school to university in the UK and USA. Still he has come to rejuvenate Globsin. He said, a student should not only be knowledgeable, he should not only have the skill, but she could also be a good human being. With this in mind, we are following the diktats of Professor Shrikant Datar of Harvard, knowing, being, and doing. all our students have to do a program, a project on elderly or disabled or downtrodden to get a PGDM. The reason I said this is to say what we are doing. This is the age of learning. We want to learn from you, from others. So whatever we are doing, we are saying, but I think we should all be learning organizations and we should learn from each other. I would welcome all of us to come together. I see sometimes in our meetings, not more than 10 fellows come. I think we should all be there. And therefore, I'm very happy that all of you are here. I now welcome all our speakers of today, Dr. Bhimaraya Metri of IIM Trichy, Professor Soikat Moitra of Vice Chancellor of Macau, Professor Upinder Dhar, a friend of mine, Vice Chancellor Vaishnav Vidyapeeth, Dr. Rattan Sharma, Principal Director of BIPS, Dr. Ajay Pathak, Director ExPresident, Dr. Ramakant Batra, Director Principal BIMS, and all other dignitaries and friends. I hope today's deliberations will be very good, successful, and we can learn from each other. With these, I thank you very much again, and I hand over to Sujata. Thank you very much. I cannot hear you, Soti. The speaker.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It is saddening to announce that Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, President, Association of Indian Management Schools, could not be present today because of a demise of one of her relatives. Professor Dr. Rattan Sharma has a PhD in Finance from University of Delhi. He is currently Principal Director at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies. He was the founder director of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Usha and Lakshmi Mittal Institution of Management, a constituent of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. He has also worked as a director of a business school in the private sector, and he was also an EFMD fellow in Manchester Business School, UK, and worked on factors influencing abnormal returns on corporate equities in UK. Let me now request Dr. R.C. Bhattacharya, sir, to invite Dr. Rattan Sharma for the presidential address. May I request RTV sir to kindly invite Dr. Rattan Sharma for the presidential address.
Dr. Sharma, we have been talking. I have the pleasure of requesting you, sir, to deliver the president's speech.
Sir, it's my pleasure, and good morning, everyone. The speakers, eminent speakers, the organizers of this program. Since Professor Sujata Mangaraj, she couldn't make it, so I, in that capacity of former president of AIMS, I'm just trying to mention a few things about Association of Indian Management Schools. Well, friends, you must be aware that Association of Indian Management Schools is a non-profit making body formed as a society for the last 32 years or so. It is offering a number of, in fact, activities which are very, very important. And this is got a membership of around 800 business schools. I must mention here that AIMS, in fact, invites only the business schools, all those institutions as a member. We do not have any individual membership in this case. 800 is a big number, in fact, in India. And this has been recognized as one of the largest networking, in fact, association all over the world. And it has got really large number of activities on its fold. For example, the activities it has got are, number one is the policy advocacy role it plays, and it plays very effectively, whether in the government or in the sector. Whenever there is a problem relating to the management education, we really try to get into that. Here, it will not be out of place, friends, to mention that our membership is not only of the BGDM institutions, but also MBA departments affiliated to universities. So anything which really relates to the management education is future and other rules which are there. So we try really to advocate on that behalf of every institution. We also have one of our very prestigious convention which we hold annually, which is called Annual Management Education Convention, wherein we invite participants all over, in fact, the world, and therefore they participate. A large, in fact, group, in fact, meets together, And we have a 2.5-day to 3-day program, which we normally conduct every year. Association of India Management Schools also awards a lot of, in fact, those who have been in the management education field for long, and it has got very prestigious awards installed called Ravi J. Mathai National Fellowship Award. And now this is an award, you know it. Ravi J. Mathai was, in fact, the founder of Ahmedabad, was very, in fact, important personality in the management education field. Likewise, we have 9 other very prestigious awards on our fold, and we really try to have them and invite in the faculty and others. One of the another things which probably you may be aware, we conduct, in fact, a very important test called AIMS test for management administration. This is called ATMA, ATMA. And this has been recognized as one of the very important, significant tests which has been conducted over India along with CAD, MAD, ZET, and ATMA. So that's how really our activities are for the last 32 years or so. We in fact keep on evolving and try to get into that. We have got a number of other activities for the benefit of the member institutions, for the faculty and others. And for example, last year we had a tie-up with IIM Bangalore, and some of you, I'm sure you participated to the faculty development program. Likewise, we also had the association with the MDI Gurgaon also for the faculty. They participated in that. We therefore invite those who are not a member of Association of India Management School to be a part of it. A few things I must mention about the immediate benefits. This is that special programs, regional roundtables, intellectual competition, academic programs are being conducted. If you are a member of the Association of India Management Schools, it's also got, for example, some of those advertising on its website. If you really participate in ATMA, the test that I am referring to in this case. And then we also have some other activities in the webinars. We also have a journal, in fact, called AIMS Journal of Management, a biannual journal, which we got a hard and soft copies. And we also have got what we say a organization structure. We have the president on the top, then we have a vice president, and then we have treasurer, and then we have the chapter level bodies. We got executive body at the national level, then we have a chapter body at a regional level. So you can participate and be a member of that body. A number of, in fact, after you complete 1 year, there are a number of other assistants are given to the faculty colleagues. You can always try to convey to your faculty those who are interested. For example, financial assistance for organizing academic activities. So we do provide something, financial assistance, some amount, receiving AIMS Research and Innovation Fellowship grant. This is also another activity that we have started last 4 years or so. And you can also be elected as a member of the elective board of the AIMS. These are some of the activities as a body, which is non-profit making and a society really we provide. This really gives you a brief idea as to how really we are functioning as an AIMS organization. Thank you very much for this. Thank you. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Take it over now.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ajay Pathak, Vice Chancellor of ICFAI University, Tripura, is a PhD from IIT Kharagpur, from where he has also acquired his engineering degree. He is a fellow of Cost and Management Accountants of India from ICAI, Kolkata. He has worked in senior positions in banking industry for 25 years and is a certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers and a member of Economic Affairs, Finance and Taxation Committee, Economic Research Cell at Confederation of Indian Industry, Kolkata. He has been nominated as co-director, Professional Risk Managers International Association, USA, Kolkata chapter, to spread awareness about risk management among students, academicians, and corporate. Let me now request sir to unfold about the day's program. Over to you, sir. Ajay, sir.
Yeah, this is always a problem. Very good morning.
Put the speaker on.
Morning once again to all the dignitaries to be a part of this program, which we have been thinking for several months, and now it is 55. Just few things I would like to share with you. Am I audible? Yes.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah. So digital learning is the way forward. We know that yes, we have been all hit by pandemic. The global economy is in shambles. Uh, the institutions are in real problem. Banks are in problem. Individuals also are into real problem. Because how to handle this situation? Nobody expected that this is going to happen. So what we have to simply do, we have to take steps to ensure that the learning always happens, because we, being a part of a bigger universe, we are part of a bigger universe of education institutes. It's our duty that we should always ensure that the knowledge is delivered and knowledge is acquired. Learning has to happen. Learning has to happen continuously. And the one thing what we at IBS did was few steps we took in the month of April. We realized that yes, this is going to affect us all, and this is going to affect the the students who are going to join us. So what we planned out a strategy, and I would just like to share with you the strategy which we followed in about 10 minutes, so that you can understand how we can do that. So we got together, we had a brainstorming session, and we decided that we must introduce these online classes. So we framed a team and we talked to all the faculty members that they will give their online content immediately. This took a lot of time. It took virtually about a month to develop an online content. Now, we were already having an online platform virtually 5 years earlier. We were using it, but it was not being used significantly because, we had physical classes. So some faculty members were using it, some were not using it. It's okay. So we decided that we must do something to change from the physical mode to online mode. So we had a quick force platform. We put online content there. Then we gave training to all our faculty members, how to handle classes, how to handle assignments, how to handle examinations. A detailed training was let out, and they had to attend this training. About 500 faculty members attended this training, which was given in the month of April. May, we did this training and continued for several days, and it was a great learning experience. How to handle this internal quick force platform, which is also available on the Moodle. One can access it from the Moodle also. So after developing the online content, we gave training to our faculty members, we gave training to our staff members. We also got in touch with our students and told them what is the infrastructure, because we know some of the students are not from metropolitan towns, they're not from even urban places, they're from semi-urban areas, they're from rural areas. We talked to them, what is the bandwidth? So we knew this is a challenge for us. So we will see what is going to happen. So we started our classes online from 19th May, and we have been there for 2 months. And I will just share some of the experience, how we are doing it. What we are trying to do is reduce the gap between the physical and online classes. As simple as that. So how do we do that? Because we are not getting the students to the campus, students are not meeting us, we are not meeting the students. So there's a problem, there's emotional touch, the feeling is not happening. So how do we do that? So when the class starts, our session is for 1 hour, 15 minutes. We tell them, first of all, when you start the class, tell all the students to come well dressed, as if you are coming to a class. And then we open the video and then we interact with the students. Because one thing has to be understood, students are very, very depressed, they are stressed, they are subdued, we should have interaction with them. So first 10 to 15 minutes, we interact with them, how they're doing, what are the learnings they're happening, are they reading, updating themselves. Subsequently, we start the session for about 30 minutes. So 10 minutes, then 30 minutes of class. When the faculty delivers, then we again stop our delivery, and then the students come forward, and then we ask them questions. Just like interaction in the class. So this has to be continued. So a class of 75 minutes gets reduced to a learning of 45 minutes. We will say, then the learning is less. No. Whatever we have to cover, we cover it in those 45 minutes. And we have told the faculty members that whatever you teach should be very relevant, should be something which is related to what is happening in the corporate world. You should update them continuously on a regular basis. This was what we have done. Now, what happens when the student miss the classes? That is a challenge. Students cannot, cannot understand what is happening because of the infrastructure issues. So what we have done, we record these sessions. Each and every session is recorded. When we record these sessions, students who have missed, they can access that. And apart from that, we do a lot of recap sessions because students don't have to move out from the house. So we do recap sessions. This is something which has helped us a lot. And then you say, how do we do this GD sessions? Online activity, students activity, because that is also to continue. So our student activity, our faculty members are there, students know how to handle. So this can be, the entire class can be broken up into several rooms. The breakout rooms we call, it's there available on the Zoom platform. So when the students break into various groups, we know how they are doing in their online activity, how the group discussion should happen. So this breakout rooms is a very important concept one has to understand. Is there on the Zoom platform. Another problem is what happens if the faculty is to deliver quantitative methods. What happens if they have to deliver something like accountancy class? Okay, so we have got a whiteboard system also in Zoom, and then we have also purchased few pens which can be written. If you write it on your desk, it will be displayed on the screen. So these are some of the technological tools which we have introduced, and the faculty are able to deliver. This was in brief. How do we deliver? Now then, how do we conduct these assignments? Assignments you can conduct, quiz. You can conduct written assignments. The students have to submit. When the students submit, the notification will come to the faculty that this student has submitted. There's a deadline which is given that you have to do it within these days. If the students cannot do within 3 days, you cannot submit again. But then we are considering, because students are facing a lot of infrastructure issues. See, one thing is very necessary. We have to handle the students now. It's a difficult time, and we must see to it that these things do continue. And this is the way we are carrying our digital learning and digital delivery of the class. We conduct a lot of faculty knowledge sharing programs in various. Just now I've come from another faculty knowledge sharing program. We tell other colleges also that this is how you are doing. You also see if you can do that, because we being a part of the bigger universe, we must ensure that faculty learn, the students learn, and the learning has to happen. The examinations also, which is due in the month of August, we are also conducting examinations. There's a camera which records the examination. Time is given. It's an open book exam. Students can, whatever they want to write in 2 hours. We know the camera is there. So we'll see the recording of the camera, and then we'll do the checking and complete the assignments. The examination can be conducted and the result will be declared. This is in very simple terms. I've told you this is, I feel other colleges, if they follow, they can also do this. This is a small brief success story of IBS which I've shared. Thank you all. I wish all the participants that their learning is going to improve and they're going to do better in life. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. With this, I hand over the session on Deans and Directors Meet to Dr. Rattan Sharma, sir. Over to you, sir.
Is a wonderful rally. And I'm thankful to Professor Bhattacharya ji and Professor Patra for this opportunity of moderating this very, very important session on management education. More so because we have such eminent speakers on this panel, where I feel my privilege and I feel proud that I'm a part of it, and therefore we just try to take the discussion forward. Before we start, I think let me introduce the speakers. And I begin with Dr. Bhimaraya Metri. In fact, he's a director with IIM Trichy. I sometimes wonder if you know him, there's no word necessary really to talk about Dr. Bhimaraya Metri. If you do not, then I don't know how really I should be introducing him. It's very difficult. Reason being that those who are in the field of management education, particularly or the business schools or those, he has been in many committees which have been, in fact, there for management education. But still, for a formal introduction, I must mention a few things. He's a very astute administrator of the IIM Trichy, wherein under his leadership, IIM Trichy has got various, in fact, awards, have been considered one of the best IIMs, in fact, all over India. He is a distinguished academician, a renowned teacher himself, and he has performed number of key leadership roles in different committees of Government of India, AICTE, and many others. I will not be reading out, in fact, his profile. In fact, with a brief profile. it really runs around 3-4 pages, but I'll just see a brief important points because we would like to hear from him as to what is the present and the future of management education. But suffice will be to some extent there that Dr. Metri, in fact, has chaired a committee which was trying really to get into the draft syllabus of the PGDM institutions and MBA institutions, which I'm sure most of our management business schools or business schools in the country, they're adopting it. He is also the chairman of the Board of Studies of IMA. He has been awarded, in fact, as one of the very prestigious award from IMA. He has been in the many committees, both in India and abroad. In fact, there could not have been a better person than really to talk about the main speaker, Dr. Metri, about the present and future management education about this. He is very active, in fact, in many fields, many fields. He was with MDI. He was, in fact, got a, IMA Keval Noria Award for academic leadership in management education. For the Distinguished Services Award by Asia Pacific Decision Science Institute, Top Directors Award and Distinguished Alumnus Award from Prerana Pushkar. I think he has got all the awards which one can really think of. So I think we got a very right person. Dr. Metri received PhD from IIT Bombay, and he's the member of the Decision Science Institute USA and the Institute of Supply Management USA. Coming back to management education, he's the author of those curriculum which is there. So not really taking much time now, but I must request, in fact, I will be introducing other speakers as we really invite them. So first of all, I request Dr. Metri really to share his thoughts on the present and future of management education. I'll request that we have got only, as per the organizers, Dr. Metri and every other speakers, I must mention we got around, you got around some 15 to 19 minutes, Dr. Metri, so we'd like to confine. I know it is there, but then you always follow the timings, but we would like to adhere to the timings. So, Dr. Metri, sir.
Thank you, Professor Rattan Sharma ji, and all the esteemed dignitaries, Professor R.C. Bhattacharya ji, Professor Upinder Dhar, Professor Ramakant Patro ji, and all the esteemed leaders of the management education and various vice chancellors and distinguished participants. So first of all, I take this opportunity to thank the organizer of this AIMS Eastern Region Dean and Directors Meet Organization Committee for inviting me for this important event. So briefly, let me begin with present and future of management education. Let me begin with present. So all of you know that present management education, if you look at the present management education, whatever the curriculum, the teaching and the style, whatever we follow, this, I say it is a Western one. So we have largely adopted American and European style of management education, and larger curriculum also comes from that. Now, if you look at the current development all over the world, we are moving towards disastrous. We have forgotten the sustainability. We have forgotten the United Nations SDGs. So sustainable development goals and 2030, the target is there. I am sure the way we are going, we are not going to achieve those targets. So that is where, if you look at the developed countries, they have spoiled the environment. Developing countries following the developed countries. And that is how, if you look at the today's pandemic, COVID-19, it is largely affected, mostly affected developed countries first, and then developing countries, and least affected is third world countries. Those who are close to the nature, close to the environment, they are least affected. Again, urban and rural, if you take rural India, it is least affected, urban India, it is more. So this clearly tells that we have forgotten the planet, we have forgotten the people, and our curriculum is focusing only on profit and materialistic life. And that is what our education has been moved, and we are marching in that direction. So that is where present education, management education, I think we need to revisit. We need to reboot, and we need to rediscover, we need to reimagine. So then what should look like future of management education? So present management education, our focus is stakeholder. Stakeholders means basically a students and the industry, what industry wants and what students want. So our natural system focus on the stakeholder, even businesses, they focus on shareholders. The governance, we focus on shareholders, stakeholders. So the concept of stakeholder, the natural system which you have chosen, that is fundamentally we have to question it. So now the time has come, we have to reimagine, refocus and rediscover, reboot the management education. The principle of stakeholder, is it right or wrong, we have to question. Now, if you see the larger picture of the planet as a whole, if you want to optimize at the global level, then focusing on stakeholder is absolutely wrong. Now, then the fundamental principles, what based on that assumption we have built everything, that is going to be questioned. So fundamental principle today is the planet, centered around the planet and should be centered around the people, and profit should be at the end. As Bhattacharya rightly said, the focus has to be on human being. And I must say, it is not only human being, focus has to be on all being. From human being, we have to march towards all being. All being means right from insects to animals. So every living being on the earth, we should focus not only human being, not only materialistic, and not only dividing the world based on the profit and based on the economy. So that is where the now fundamental principle centered around the people and the planet and the profit at the end, then automatically our focus is on sustainable business, not as usual business. So when you focus on sustainable business, then automatically whatever the assumptions we have made, stakeholder automatically, that is not coming at the center, that comes somewhere. That is one of the elements, but that is not the central element. Now, these are the two things one has to look into that in future of management education, not only for the present generation, we have to also look at the many, many generations in future to come, so that we can reserve the right kind of environment and right kind of resources for the future generation. Today, you look at the COVID-19 pandemic, except human being, the insects, the animals, and the planet is laughing. And we all are suffering. And why we all are suffering? We are the one, we have destroyed the planet and element much more than any other living being on the earth. So that is where I think Bhattacharya Sahab was rightly talking about in future, the spirituality element. So which is when all elements, you exhausted, then probably we look towards the spirituality. Now the time has come how to connect with the planet, people, spirituality, and focusing on all being, not only human being. So these are the things are to be taken into account for the future of management education. Now, if you want to look all those things into account, then it is extremely important. One has to look globe as a one for optimization purpose. We cannot optimize state-wise. Say, for example, it is Tamil Nadu, it is West Bengal, it is Orissa, or it is Maharashtra, or Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh. So then we are optimizing at state level, we are optimizing at district level, we are optimizing at country level. The time has come, our optimization has to be at global level. It has to be at the global level. So now the time has come, the focus has to be from corporate social responsibility or from institution social responsibility, it has to move towards global social responsibility. GSR from CSR or ISR. So it has to be GSR, global social responsibility, and focus has to be on global citizenship. Then only we can build a sustainable business, and then only we can look at the natural resources optimal utilization, and then only we can look at the human being as a holistic human being, and then automatically management education will prepare the individual as a holistic human being, so that they can focus balancing on everything, not only on the profit. Today's education focuses only how to make more money in shortest possible time. That is what our education has marched. Now the time has come, corrective action has come. One COVID invisible element has changed the every aspect of the every sector and every aspect of the individual. All of you agree. Before COVID, going to the campus, studying in the campus was possible. Today it has become impossible. And what was impossible, that has become possible. So this is just because of COVID, just because of the disruption of the COVID. And you know, the disruption word has come very, very recently in digital context, but now COVID is also one of the disruption. It has changed the channel of education. Now from, till now we used to consider distance learning as a offline neglected education. It is a distance, oh, you are from distance education. That is the kind of language we used to speak. Today, the distance education we call beautifully online, and then online has become mainline, and our mainline has become offline, we call offline. Campus education we call offline. So now online has become mainline, and which was never considered before COVID. It was almost impossible thinking online as a mainline education. It has happened. So that is where the time has come. We have to reboot management education. We have to reimagine the management education. We are all, as Ajay Pathak rightly said, we are all responding to COVID-19. Responding means from campus, now we are going for remote teaching, online teaching, and the way we are experimenting. And my request to all the academic leaders, instead of reinventing the wheel, there are many best practices for online teaching exist every part of the world. We should benchmark and within the shortest possible time, adopt the best practice and go for online. Instead of reinventing the wheel and we are the one doing something different, I think the time has gone because we are wasting our time and probably we may not be the best. Look at all over the world, look beyond the country, look beyond our college, beyond our education system, management to even technical education. What is best in the online we can capture and put it, and within no time we can adopt and make the teaching as a enriching experience much better than the campus life one can do. And for that, just we have to do benchmark. It doesn't cost much and we can get the best education. Instead of we doing sitting brainstorming and doing trial and error, probably we are wasting our time. Now, once you are looking for the future of management education, then in future of management education, when you think about the curriculum for future of management education, you have to look at the corporate world, because our students are going to the corporate world. In the corporate world, what changes are happening? Corporate world changes are happening very quickly in front of our own eyes. Leadership is changing in front of our own eyes. Same companies have changed their name many times. For example, GSK, 5 times it has changed its name in 30 years. So many companies, their names are changing, their products are, new products are coming, they are diversifying, and this is happening in rampant and in a fast way. Such kind of, now in some of the companies, leaders have changed, but leadership has not changed. So leaders have changed, leadership has not changed, means those companies are not going to survive in near future. If you want to lead the world which has not yet born, then we have to adopt a certain kind of leadership, that is a contextual leadership. What is a contextual leadership? Because in this disruptive world, context is changing, every disruption is changing the context. For example, education sector. The context has changed because of the COVID from campus. Now campus are dry and we are all busy with the digital education. As Bhattacharya Sahib is telling, I am sitting in a puja room and now I am participating with you. Technology has not only entered into the bedroom and puja room and dining hall, it also entered into our brains. Now, in such a kind of digital disruption, you need a leadership. That leadership, whatever the earlier styles of leadership, they are not going to work out. Today, we need a contextual leadership. And the best definition given by leadership, I must, I think, tell here, a great saint, Swami Vivekananda, said, leader is the one who thinks the unthinkable, who achieves the unachievable, and who sees the invisible. Such person is a leader, and we need such an academic leader. How to think ahead, what's going to happen 5 years down the line, what products are going to disappear, what companies are going to change, and what new way of working is going to come. World of work, how it is going, how you are going to see tomorrow. And those who think of yesterday, they never succeed in future. And that is why somebody has rightly said, yesterday of tomorrow is today. What we do today, that is going to give the outcome and result tomorrow. So in such kind of environment, a contextual leadership, as Swami Vivekananda rightly said, Indian ancient knowledge rightly says the contextual leadership. And today, in fashion, in modern world, I can say future is fluid. It is changing so fast like a water. And that is why future workforce is liquid workforce. Liquid workforce in the sense, the moment you put the water into any container, it will take its shape. Same way, the jobs are changing and people are changing the jobs rampantly. Earlier, many generations, they used to work in Tata and Birlas. Now the time has come. People are working in one company hardly 5 years and they move to the next company, new job, new role. And that is how workforce, they are changing the jobs and changing the company. And the moment you change the jobs, your skill set required will be entirely different. Skilling, reskilling, upskilling are going to be a common phenomena. Lifelong learning is going to be the way of life. And that is why Jnanam Anantam, that is a logo of I am Trichy. Knowledge is endless. You keep on learning. Now the time has gone. I have got the degree from IIT, IIM. Now I need not to learn. Those days have already disappeared. You have to be a learner, you have to be a student, you have to be a scholar all the time as long as you are working in an organization or institution. So that is why lifelong learning, unlearning, relearning are going to be the common phenomena. So such kind of world is going to come, and we have to prepare the leaders for the world which has not yet born. And for that, we have to prepare the curriculum. And at the same time, our central principle has to be people, planet, and profit at the end. I'm not selling no profit, but it has to be balanced. And that is where a spirituality comes in between. And that is how global social responsibility comes in between. Sustainable development goals for education, 4 out of 17, we need to focus. Such kind of education, not only focusing on the state and country. And if you look at the recent speech of our Prime Minister, Atmanirbhar Bharat, if you really want to make our country self-dependent, and if you want to make India as a Vishwa Guru in education, we were there earlier. And again, time has come, the contextual leadership, which I told, because future is fluid and 15-20 year strategy are not going to work out. Emergent strategy is going to work out. Emergent strategy means it is a fluid strategy. You keep on walking and certain things you can see. Again, if you move further, some more things you can see. That is how the emergent strategy of fluid strategy is going to work out. So when the future is fluid, strategy is fluid, leadership also has to be fluid, because context is changing very often. That either you can call it as a contextual leadership or you can call it as a fluid leadership. And it is in the DNA of Indians, that is a contextual leadership, which you have gained through our Indian ancient knowledge. Indian management, it is exists, but we have forgotten the Indian management, we adopted the Western management. And that is where हमारे पास तिजोरी है, तिजोरी का key हमारे पास नहीं. Those who don't know the Sanskrit, They can't read those slokas and you can't interpret and you can't, use it in practice it. Because hamare paas, if you look at the Tamil Nadu, we have Tirukural. Every problem in this world, there are solutions in Tirukural. Every problems in this world, we have solutions through our Vedas, our ancient knowledge, Chanakya Niti, our old kings, like Cholas, like Shivaji, like Chhatrapal, all those kings, they have huge reservoir they have built, but we are not using them. We have locked them and we have lost the key. Now the time has come, we have to search the key, we have to open the key, and we have to read them and revisit and build our students. They should be a contextual leader. It is contextual leadership comes from the intuitional knowledge. Western world believes on concepts and models. Everything they put into the SWOT analysis, BCG matrix, 4Ps, 7Ks, all those kinds of nonsense happens. And irrespective of the situation, we put everything in that and we draw the solution, we get the mediocre result. But we Indians, if you look at the Orissa, when the tsunami happens, within no time, under the leadership of the chief minister, it has been sorted out and the normal situation came within a week. Look at the Katrina happened in America few years back. They took 2 years to restore. So we Indians are best at firefighting. And today, every change in context is nothing but firefighting. Firefighting, people say 1 Indian is equal to 3 Japanese. But when 2 Japanese come together, our performance is half of the Japanese. The reason is, a teamwork is the biggest issue in India. We don't work in a team. As an individual, we are the best. And as a contextual leadership, we are the best. And today, live examples I can quote. Look at IBM, who is heading. Look at Microsoft, who is heading. Look at Google. Look at GMAT in education, who is heading. He's Indian, he's from Himachal. Look at the Deloitte, who is heading. He's from Rohtak, Himachal Pradesh. Rohtak, Haryana. So if you see all the leaders, all the great companies are headed by Indians. They are best in the contextual leadership or fluid leadership that is there in the Indian DNA. Similarly, if you look at all these leaders, best example I can quote Satya Nadella. When Microsoft was losing its ground, Satya Nadella was appointed as a CEO of the Microsoft, and within no time, he brought it on the limelight. It became once again the role model for the world because he is the best sense maker in the world. Best sense making means what will happen 3 years down the line, what products are going to disappear, what competition is going to come. That Indians are the best. And that is why entire Silicon Valley in America is ruled by Indians. And that is why how to put all those things in our curriculum, that is need of an hour. We all academic leaders, we have to think about it. And as Rattan Sharma ji rightly said, model curriculum we have built, and January 4th, 2018, then education minister released it. And that model curriculum really captures Indian ethos as one of the compulsory course we introduce. And that will help to build the fluid leadership or contextual leadership. I am sure that model curriculum is just a model, but the flexibility we have built in the model curriculum is each and every business school based on their vision and mission, they can change all the courses, still it is relevant to the model curriculum, and it is 100% flexibility is given. But at the same time, what are the relevant learning outcomes students should have at the end of the MBA degree so that he can work in the job which not exist. That is extremely important, and that is the kind of model curriculum has been built. I request you have to revisit, and we have to do the innovation and adaptation in the model curriculum so that we can always remain relevant, we can always remain present, and that kind of curriculum I think we need to build. With this, I wish all the best, all the academic leaders, and particularly I thank the organizer and my friend Rattan Sharma ji and Upinder Dhar Savi sitting here, and Shri Bhattacharya Savi is a great guru and great leader. Sir, thank you very much, and Ramakant ji for your all effort and invitation, and Swati, each one of you for inviting me, and I wish all the best for this Deans and Directors meet of Eastern Region AIMS. And AIMS is a great organization. It is doing a great job. I am sure you all leaders are going to make it as a not only AIMS for India, but AIMS for the globe and AIMS for the rest of the world. I wish all the best and thank you very much, and my all best wishes to you.
Rattan Sharma ji.
So I think you need to unmute yourself, sir.
Oh,
Rattan sir, I mean, you need to unmute.
yeah, I have unmuted myself. I'm not. Hello, am I audible?
It's audible. Yeah, it is audible now, sir.
नहीं पहले भी था वैसे, but I think some link probably. So I was just thanking Dr. Metri because he really provided bird's eye view. I must say that from the American Western mode of education to really get into the Indian one. Sustainability, CSR, he said it to global, in fact, CSR he mentioned. And he mentioned also from the planet and the people to really profit we should not get into, rather we should have this priority, planet first. And he quoted beautifully Swami Vivekananda definition of the leadership, I think, which is contextual. He mentioned it with a lot of really as to how the workplace of the future is going to be there with liquid workforce, etc., and so on and so forth. Thank you, Dr. Metri, in fact, providing very enriching, in fact, the contents in our part. So nice of you, sir. Now we move on to another one, which is a very powerful speaker, Dr. Upinder Dhar. He will be sharing his thoughts on the prospects of management education post-COVID-19. And I must mention again, I think that's what I was feeling is that his profile also runs for 4 or 5 pages. So I think if I start reading it, it will take a lot of time. But I must say again the same thing which I said about Dr. Metri. Dr. Upinder Dhar has been associated with management education for the last many decades. Currently, he is the Vice Chancellor of the Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vaishnav Vidyalaya from 29 June 2015. And he was a group additional Vice Chancellor and Pro-Vice Chancellor in the Metri University, Noida. He was the first Vice Chancellor of J.K. Lakshmipad University, Jaipur. In fact, he has been in all administrative positions, so I just take it that way is very nice, and he knows as to how it has to be the administration looks like. I must say also as a faculty, he is a great researcher. He is known for the case methodology. In fact, he really tries to conduct a lot of programs. And I must say that he is having a program through AIMS. I think this is next month. So we are having a case methodology workshop. And Dr. Upinder Dhar, in fact, is the person who is really coordinating this part. He is a psychologist and writes cases, in fact, helps people to write cases. He is a research scholar himself, and under his leadership, around 30 research scholars have been awarded PhD. Dr. Dhar has been on the editorial board of Trichy Journal of Psycho-Cultural Dimensions, Tattva Management Guru, an International Journal of Management Science. He was the chief editor of the Nirma University Journal of Business Management, editor of Prestige Journal of Management Research, Prestige Research Abstracts, etc., and all that. Dr. Dhar was conferred Great Achiever of India Award for the Front of National Progress, Delhi. He was invited to deliver the first N.S. Chauhan Memorial Lecture at Punjabi University, Patiala. And he, in fact, has been conferred a number of other awards, which if I start saying about mentioning, I think it will take a lot of time. He is also, in fact, is a former president of AIMS. And it is my proud privilege and honor to invite him to speak on a very important topic, which is about the prospects of management education, particularly post-COVID-19, as to what really our prospects are there. So Dr. Upinder Dhar, again, I request you to really follow those timings. Dr. Metri, so nice of you. In fact, you did so. And I'm requesting Dr. Dhar also the same thing. I should not be coming in between. Right, Dr. Upinder Dhar, please, sir. Dr. Dhar, sir. Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Dr. Dhar, has he heard?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, unmute.
Yeah. Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Rattan Sharma, Professor Bhattacharya ji, Professor Patra, Professor Pathak, my great friend, Dr. Metri, and all others. I would like to thank you for inviting me for the interaction. It is a great pleasure to speak from the AIMS platform because I have been associated, I have been part of AIMS almost from the beginning. AIMS was established in 1988 and my association started from, from 88 it started, so my association started from 1990. That time AIMS was just 2 years old. Well, as Dr. Metri mentioned, that's a difficult time. And this difficult time is being experienced all over the world. But we need to look ahead and think positively. COVID-19, as we know, has disrupted all businesses, non-businesses. See, education is not an exception across the world. These disruptions have happened. But COVID-like situation has not happened first time. It has happened first time in our lives. But nature has been reminding mankind from time to time, at least once in 100 years. So if we look at it historically, in 1720, there was a pandemic of plague all over the world. Then about 100 years later, 1820, there was epidemic of cholera across the world. Lakhs of people died. In 1918-20, for 2 years, 1918-20, there was Spanish flu, which was this Spanish flu affected 500 million people across the world. Out of that, 50 million people died. If you would see, there are some photographs available on the internet of this 1918-20. That time also people were wearing the masks and gloves and maintaining the social distance and so on and so forth. Now it has come in 2019-20. It's a reminder from the nature that we are going somewhere wrong. As Dr. Metri mentioned, mankind has, human beings have damaged the most so far as the nature is concerned, environment is concerned. So it's a reminder that we are going something wrong. We need to correct our ways. Well, so far as education is concerned, higher education is concerned, 1.3 to 1.5 billion students are affected across the world because of COVID-19. And specifically in our country, and that too specifically in higher education, there are 3.75 crore students which are affected and 14 lakh teachers which are affected in the country because of COVID-19. Well, you see, it is a difficult time, it's a hard time, no doubt about it, but at the same time, there is a positive side also which we need to focus on. This, when it happened from December onwards, December 19 onwards, 2019 onwards, and in our country, lockdown started from 25th of March. So the positive side is that across the country, in most of the cases, we shifted from classroom to Zoom. That was done outstandingly, and I would like to congratulate all the teachers for this transition successfully. Although there have been hitches, there have been problems, there are, you see, in our country, there are two major problems so far as higher education is concerned, and coming specifically to management education. One is the quality, and second is the reach, access to people, access to students. So during this pandemic, there are instances where we could not reach many students because they were in remote rural areas and they didn't have any internet connection, or electricity would go very often. So we were not able to reach them. That such challenges have also been there. Now, specifically, when we have to talk about the prospects, well, what has happened, it has happened, all of us know. Now, what now? Where are we going to land up after COVID, say post-COVID-19? How management education is going to reshape itself? How we are at present, how should we reimagine it? See, I would talk about it in 8 points. Since Dr. Sharma has given me timeline, therefore just 8 points. Number 1 is infrastructure. Infrastructure has to altogether change. See, now focus has not to be only on buildings and land. Focus has to be more on IT infrastructure building. IT infrastructure needs to be continuously built up. You see, today we are in a better position in comparison to 1918, 1920. See, 100 years back, this technology was not available. Zoom was not there at that time. But today, we have the advantage of this technology. And it is only because of technology which came to our rescue that we shifted classes immediately after lockdown started. We shifted our interaction and student engagement from classroom to Zoom. The classrooms that we have today, physical classrooms that we have today on our campuses, this concept was introduced in 1805. So in 1805, classroom concept came. And since then, we have been using only classroom. But now for the first time, because of the Zoom, because of the COVID, we have shifted or transited to another room, that is Zoom. So whatever platform we use, but it is online. Therefore, one important point is continuous upgradation of infrastructure, particularly IT infrastructure on the campuses. That is very important. And here I would also say even government needs to invest in building IT infrastructure in the remote areas, in the rural areas, so that our accessibility increases. Accessibility to the students who are living in the last corner of the country. That is very much required. This is first point. Second point is about training and development. The training and development of the faculty is continuous, has to be continuous now. More focus. The particularly upskilling is very important. As Dr. Bhattacharya mentioned, that when Globsin was started, there was a focus on skilling or skill development. Now, more focus has to be on skills, but particularly on upskilling the technological capability, technological capacity. So continuous training and development of the faculty has to be there. It has to be part and parcel of the system in the times to come. It cannot be a once in a while kind of activity. Continuous learning for teachers is very important. Third point is curriculum and content. It has to modify. We need to change it. Forget about those four credit courses, 5 credit courses. We have to make shorter modules, shorter units, so that we can retain the attention of the students. Not only on the online platform, because now I will come to the next point, pedagogy. But before coming to pedagogy, curriculum needs to be updated, and we need to go in for shorter modules. Shorter modules are required, not big syllabus. Those days are gone. Fourth point is pedagogy. Pedagogy is going to change altogether now. As Professor Metri was saying, what used to be mainline till say March has become offline today. That's why I prefer not to use offline. I prefer to use in-person interaction, face-to-face in-person interaction. In online interaction, we are facing the camera. We are not able to read the facial expressions of our students, which we miss. But that is going to stay. During the times to come, there will be blended approach. The online approach is going to stay. It will continue. We will have more and more advanced technology during the times to come to remain engaged, to keep our students engaged, keep our faculty engaged. Faculty engagement and student engagement, both are very important. So besides offline, besides this online platform, we will be using the in-person interaction also. That will come back. It cannot go. Online platform cannot replace in-person interaction, face-to-face interaction with the students. Even students are missing campus experience. It is necessary to give campus experience to the students for all-round development. Therefore, during the times to come, it is going to be blended approach, online as well as in-person interaction with the students. That's how methodology is going to be changed, because as Dr. Metri also mentioned, lifelong learning, continuous learning for all of us, not only for students, for teachers, for administrators, educational administrators, promoters, and students. Online, this lifelong learning is going to be the thumb rule. We have to keep on unlearning and relearning, keep on learning new concepts, new technology which will come. Technology will further advance and we shall have to quickly adopt the new technology. Fifth point is the evaluation and assessment. Assessment methods are going to change. We shall have to innovate. We cannot keep on assessing them the way we were doing earlier. We have to create the assessment method so that all-round evaluation of the students can happen. Therefore, we have to rethink so that 360-degree evaluation takes place, online as well as in-person evaluation. So it will be now later, post-COVID-19, it will be the amalgam of online evaluation as well as in-person evaluation of the students. But evaluation has to be there and it will stay. But then innovation is required. Innovation, we need to think, we need to apply our mind to innovate the assessment methods, assessment approach. Sixth point, online institute industry interface. That is going to be very important now. Say earlier, many institutions were not able to invite people because they didn't have the budget. Many industry stalwarts used to refuse because they had no time. But now that is gone. One has to speak from office. One can speak from his office, one can speak from his home and interact with our faculty, interact with our students. Therefore, we need to see it as an opportunity and increase our online industry, institute industry interface. Even attempts are being made at present that industry helps the students to show around the industry. That means while students are at present sitting at home, from home itself, online visit can be made to the factory, online visit can be made to the shop floor, online visit can be made to various departments in an organization. That is going to increase. So physical movement may reduce in this respect, but then at the same time, we should be able to have more interface, more intense interface for the benefit of students, faculty, and all of us. Seventh point is their networking. Networking between business schools, networking between other kinds of institutions will increase, because as we know, we had already started doing it. That means not teaching only management subjects, teaching some subjects from other disciplines, so that overall and total development, total personality development of the student takes place. That is going to increase. So networking. Now it is very common every day, as Dr. Bhattacharya was mentioning earlier in the beginning of this this webinar, that there are nowadays so many webinars are happening. It becomes at times very difficult to decide which one to attend. And I have seen it has become a common feature that one speaker is from Harvard, another speaker is from Princeton, another speaker is from New Delhi, third speaker is from some other country, maybe London. Very well, very effectively done. And this networking has become, will be one of the important norms during the times to come. We shall have to network, develop our contacts, and bring the best of the talent, most of the people who were not otherwise accessible, bring them to the Zoom, and for the benefit of our students and faculty. And lastly, the 8th point is the accreditation, approvals and accreditation. Again, the regulating authorities shall have to modify the requirements for establishing an institution, requirements for allowing an institution to continue. At the same time, one is the approval part, second is the accreditation part. Even accreditation bodies will have to include technological capability of an institution, how technologically an institution is equipped, because technology is important. We have been talking about transition of teaching learning process from teacher centered to student centered, but now during the time to come it will be tech centered, technology centered. Things will move around technology. Teacher cannot do anything if technology is not there. Student can't learn if technology is not there. So technology is going to become a very important and central motivator, or what we say, enabler. Technology is going to become a very important, powerful enabler for teachers as well as students, for teachers to learn, for students to learn, and for teachers to deliver. And finally, lastly, the role of the teacher is going to be redefined. So far, we would believe a teacher is a knowledge holder. He would go to class, deliver the knowledge, students will learn. But now it is not going to happen. Because of the technology, students may be already knowing many things when teacher starts interface. Therefore, teacher has to be up to date. So teacher's role will shift from knowledge holder to facilitator. He has to act more as a facilitator to ensure that what students are learning, they are learning on the right manner. They are approaching the right sites. They are going through the correct content. That facilitation is important. So teacher's role, though getting redefined, but more responsibility on behalf of the teachers. Teacher's role is to see to it that whenever synchronous and asynchronous learning is happening, they are able to retain the attention of the student. Retention of attention is very important. Say in physical classroom, we would see a teacher could see who is coming inside the class and who is going out of the class. But when we are on Zoom or any other online platform, how can you do that? Student may simply keep the camera off and do anything else. Therefore, what is important to retain the attention of the student. So we need to make, the teachers have to make the session so interesting that it interests the students, that it captures their attentions and they stay on. The sessions have to be short term. Time has become now, perhaps in India, I'm often saying that we don't respect time. But now this technology will teach us, like say sessions like this, we have to stick to the time. We can't help it. So COVID-19 has not only disrupted the whole world. COVID-19 has not only, it's not that many people lost their lives. It has also come as a reminder and has forced us to learn many things which we could not have, we would not have learned otherwise. See, this we were thinking of online education, we were thinking of introducing more of technology, but we were just thinking maybe what we would have done 5 years later. COVID has preponed it and we have done it now. We have done it I had never heard, although I am in education for the last 42 years, I had never heard the term webinar. So this term has come only 4 months back. And now we are every day doing it ourselves. What we were not doing earlier, we are doing ourselves and having an interface with our friends like all of you, with our students, with our colleagues, with anybody who may be anywhere in the globe. So global village in real sense, we are now living in a global village, and technology is the enabler. So with these words, thank you very much. Dr. Sharma has already given the signal.
So nice. Thank you very much. You are looking around. So I think so sweet of you, really, in fact, giving us those points as to how some 8 points where we really get into the future of education and the constraints that we have it in for imparting that. I need not repeat, but I think this is important. And I think since we are little for 6 minutes, I think we have really overshot. So I request Dr. Saikat Maitra he's a VC in the Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal. He's a chartered chemical engineer and fellow of Institute of Engineers, India. He has filed 2 patents, authored 3 books and 3 books chapters. He has received the SS Bhatnagar Memorial Award for the year 2018 and 19 for his contribution to research in the field of chemical engineering and technology. Sir, I think your topic being the pedagogical challenges in the management education post-COVID-19, I think it's very interesting. We have already discussed a few points, but I think how you really look at it, the challenges that we got it, how we should be teaching post-COVID-19. Sir, Dr. Maitra, for you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sharma, for introducing me. How much time I'll be getting?
We overshot, but I think it was up 12:35. You can take 5 minutes more because we are starting 5 minutes late.
Okay. Thank you.
12:40 is what we are saying.
Okay. Thank you. Hopefully I'll be able to manage my time.
I'm sure, sir. I'm sure.
Okay. Thank you, and it's nicely and interesting. It is indeed a great experience to listen to my fellow speakers at this virtual platform. I would like to place my opinion from already many points have been covered. I would like to present from some other perspective. If we look at the entire education scenario, be it management, be it technological education, be it professional education, be it any form of education, basically it revolves around this. It revolves around this industrial growth, and the modern education system that has started. If we look at the history, it started after the modern structured educational system started after First World War. And before that, if we go to Delphi or Pompeii, then there is a fresco which describes a nice, this piece of culture that prevailed at ancient Greece. You will find a few persons. They are standing around a centerpiece where 2 persons are sitting, and one of them is Socrates. And that place is basically Plato's academy. And those people, those 2 persons, they were engaged in debates. And why I am mentioning this, because this has some, the significance. Education systems, which was prevalent in ancient civilized countries like Greece, like India and other parts, it was basically dialogic. And the knowledge was evolved out of this debate and discussions, and this continues. And this is particularly mentioned in the entire world. If we look at this, the e-learning and digital learning, all this, this situation. University of Illinois, they are one of the pioneering university for introductions of this digital learning and e-learning, because they introduced a long time before, in 1959 or 60, when they introduced the Plato system for digital education or e-learning. They mentioned this picture, and they also mentioned another gentleman, that is Rabindranath Tagore. And it is a matter of pride for personally for me and for all these Indians, that one of the top-notch US university, when they are trying to explain the importance of e-learning, they are mentioning Tagore. And the reason behind it is, the story behind it is, in 1913, when Tagore received his Nobel Prize, he was there at Illinois, and he discussed many aspects of this learning and pedagogy and all the education systems with all these intellectual community over there. And he tried to introduce the old concept of educational systems in India in the last century for the first time. After World War, if we look at our formation of our educational systems, the entire educational systems was a reflection of the mindset of persons who were engaged in military activities. That's why if you look at the classrooms and all these things, it is something similar to this position of commanders and cadets. Cadets in the row and commanders at their front. And the question, and they were supposed to take dictation, not to, this ask back the questions. They are always asked for, this, you need to take this dictation. And that was on one directional flow of commands or communication. And that mindset or that culture that got imbibed with our educational system. And that continues. And the British people, when after this industrial revolution, when the British came over here, they established their Raj, and they started to impart educations to Mikula on these things. They introduced this concept here, destroying our old educational system, our Gurukul system, which was there earlier at our Chatuspatis and many places. It is, and that's why the thing is, this legacy is still continuing. And there have been lots of discussions and debates on these prevailing educational systems in India. It covers all aspects of education, but till now, this hangover or legacy is going on. And one of the major problem of the prevailing educational systems, it is not giving rise to the development of innovation and creativity. It is not promoting innovation and creativity. It is exam-based educations, one-directional education, and we are all the products of the same system. The thing is, if we look at this industrial scenario, this industry 1.0, it started after when mechanization it appeared at Europe. 18th century. In 19th century, when that was the era of mechanical engineering or machine. Then at industry 2.0 at 20th century, when it appeared at the latter part of 19th and 20th century, latter part of 19th century, earlier part of 20th century, when it appeared, it was characterized by mass productions and assembly line. Then after the Second World War, industry 3.0, which appeared, which dominated by microelectronics. And then industry 4.0, in between there was a 3.5, because in the 90s, and if you look at 90s, then all these developed countries, they shifted their manufacturing units to other developing nations, because for the pressure of this environmental consideration, pollution, pressure on land, water, and all these things, manufacturing, all these facilities that shifted from Europe and US to countries like China, Brazil, India, and African countries. It is denoted as industry 3.5. But in this century, in the earlier part of the century, after the emergence of industry 4.0, there has been a tremendous changes in existing practices. Because industry 4.0, if you look at it, it is dominated by digital transformation. Digital transformation, artificial intelligence, robotics, remote work process, all these things are features of industry 4.0. And here also the impact of industry 4.0 started appearing at many of our manufacturing units. Based on this industrial requirement, we organized our educational systems. Educational systems, if we look at it, education 1.0, that continued for a long period as a parallel system to industry 1.0 and 2.0 and partially to a 3.0 for a long period of time, with this traditional pedagogy, with subjects like this that was happening at many places of this country, and because of traditional subjects and traditional classification of subjects, knowledge in silos, compartmental knowledges, and all these things. Then then education 2.0, when it appeared, there was, because of this advent of this computers and internet, certain part of computational skill became felt necessity as part of this education system. Then teacher, with their standard pedagogy, that means using blackboard and chalk, they started using PowerPoint presentation, ICT-enabled teaching at the classrooms and all these things. Now industry 3.0, this education 3.0, when it started emerging after 2010 onwards, cloud-based learning is becoming one of the fundamental aspect of it. my previous speakers, they already mentioned this different types of learning. Basically, 3 or 4 types of learnings are have become the call of the day. That is anywhere learning, learning at your own place and at your own pace, lifelong learning, learning, unlearning, and relearning. And this is possible if everything happens at cloud. So cloud technology is dominating everything. And this is the changes in entire, this education, transfer of knowledge and pedagogy and all these things is concerned. So this is this is one of the interesting development. But the problem is in our entire country, we for the last these few years, we were trying hard to keep ourselves aligned with the changing scenario. Till now, the success rate is that much not mentionable, because there are lots of socio-economic problems. There are problems of these people are talking about digital divide, lack of internet facility, lack of this infrastructural facility. You see, in near future, along with roti, kapra, or makan, there will be a 4th term, that is internet requirement, because data and internet, that will be part and parcel, that is this very important feature of every person. Now, in the last COVID period, I head this technological university, and with me there are more than 200 colleges. We advised each colleges, each faculty members to continue their teaching learning system through online mode, through virtual platform, through internet. And it's a matter of pride for us that we captured a lot of data in terms of these classes being organized, students attended, assessment has taken place. This is a this very significant achievement for this university. But when we did introspection, when we look at this entire scenario, what we observed that initially the enthusiasm which was existing among these participants, among the faculties, this is over the time, within last 2-3 months, this is following a declining trend or declining curve. The reason behind it is, in the name of online education, what is being practiced, this is not actually online education. If you replicate the same thing which was you are practicing at the physical format of classroom before the screen, that will defeat the purpose. The purpose of digital learning is because in the standard classroom there is a physical presence, there is this close proximity, the warmth of your appearance is felt. You can see the entire posture, entire this physique of your instructor, his these delivery systems, his body language, all these things is visible. But in front of this laptop screen or mobile screen, when only a limited part of the body is visible, only by talking and talking, you cannot engage these participants or the person sitting at the other side for a long period. Definitely, this interest level is going to dry down after a certain point of time. That's why in digital learning or e-learning, the main feature is minimum intervention and maximum engagement. My previous speaker, they have mentioned these things. If we look at this, most of these standard online courses offered by many of these international platforms like edX, Coursera, Udemy, and all these things, we will see all these videos and all these which are offered, they are as a part of the learning content. Their time duration is very small. It is being said that that length of video should not be more than 8 minutes. This is the standard time, and after 8 minutes there will be drop in interest. Average this attention span of this generation students is very low because of this this technological changes in this also socio-technological change and all these aspects. So standard format of video is of 8 minutes, and after that lots of hyperlinks, lots of resources, lots of videos, these are supplied. So the students can see of this of their own. And then there is discussion forum, discussion front, where they can interact with each other, peer-to-peer learning, peer-to-peer evaluations. All these are parts and parcels of the standard online education system. until and unless we are not following all these things, then definitely this in the name of online education or what is happening, that will not serve the purpose. If we look at proper e-learning system, you see in the entire e-learning, there are 7 facets. Number 1 is ubiquitous learning. This is called anywhere, anytime learning, or it is a spatio-temporal dimension of learning. Because the advantage of the digital learning or e-learning is extends beyond the walls of classrooms and the cells of timetable. And this is also characterized by its affordance. At one point of time, you can engage a large number of students from different places. Of course, this cost of education becomes cheaper. There are those standard, these platforms from standard universities, these IT courses, bachelor courses, postgraduate courses in management and IT and computer science are offered at a very, this minimal price. So this affordance of this online education is very high because of this spatio-temporal dimension of learning. Then second dimension is active knowledge making. This is one of the important features of digital learning, which is epistemic dimension of learning. Because so far our education systems, be it management, be it technology and all other things, our culture is we are consumer of knowledge. Now the shifting is taking place from consumer to prosumer, because the learners all are now designated as learners. Even this is now this terminology as teacher students. These are going to be these designations or this nomenclature in near future. This is going to be replaced by senior learners and junior learners. Everyone is learners, and these learners, they become active knowledge producers in project-based learning using multiple knowledge sources, research-based knowledge making. Only consumption of knowledge, only reading from the books, absorbing this, memorizing this knowledge, and writing in the examination to pass the examination. That will not serve the purpose of future requirement. We have to take the knowledge, at the same time we have to generate the knowledge, and that is possible if we can adopt this process of active knowledge making as a part of epistemic dimension of learning, and that through digital learning system, that is very much possible. You can combine a large learning community. And from there, knowledge can evolve. We have seen in Twitter, anyone tweets, then someone else retweets. In Facebook also. And after some times, you will see something tangible, this opinion and observation came out of all these, these opinions, cross opinions, counter opinions, and all these things. And this is, and in many blogs, many blog posts, many things, this is visible. This culture is visible. So this is another feature of digital learning system. Another important thing is multimodal learning, which is called discursive dimension of learning. This use different media sources like text, diagrams, table, dataset, video documentation, audio recording, all these different media, this presentation of all these things before the students while this learning is taking place is not possible in standard physical format of learning. There you need to have access to all of these things, and you should be in a position to supply all these contents. And that's why this from different modes, we can have our learning component. And when learning is complete, 360 degree learning from different dimensions, from different medias, from audio learning, video learning, visual learning, many things, text learning, reading learning, many things are happening here. So this is another dimension of discursive dimension of learning. Collaborative intelligence is another feature or social dimension of learning. I mentioned it earlier. Here, peers offer structured feedback, and they are to each other. Therefore, we can identify our strength, our relative weakness compared to other, and then we can have some meaningful contribution, synergistic development, soft skill development, and which is required for negotiation and all other things in a complex, diverse world. So this is another important features of digital learning. Then the recursive feedback or evaluative dimension of learning. It is another interesting feedback, these features of learning, because this is a new generation of assessment systems, continuously machine-mediated human assessment from multiple perspectives, peers assessment, self-assessment, teachers assessment, assessment from invited experts. This is possible here. All the time, we can check the attention level by supplying, these different sorts of assessment like poll, quizzes, and all these things. In standard classroom things, what is happening? Some of the students, they are active listeners, some are passive listeners, some are not so active listener. And we cannot differentiate all these things. But if everyone is engaged with certain activities after a certain point of time, then everyone needs to be, everyone's interests can be kept in the course of learning. So this is another important dimension of learning. Metacognition or cognitive dimension of learning is another important thing because it involves extensive giving and receiving feedback. Feedback giving is not this predominant culture in our standard education system. So this feedback giving, when I want to give feedback, then I have to understand the system. I have to develop my own conception, and then I can only put forward my feedback. So this can be peer assessors, or this can be self-assessor. Sometimes in digital learning, and this incumbent is asked to give their self-assessment. So self-assessment, peer assessments, all these things, when this is being practiced, it places learners in the position of having to think metacognitively about the nature of the task and this cognitive process of the discipline. So this is another important area of learning things of digital learning. And then differentiated learning, which is called comparative dimension of learnings. That means everyone should not take interest in everything. Some will take interest in certain things, some other will take interest in certain things, and that is possible in digital world. If we can arrange all these, these different dimensions of learnings, then differentiated learning is possible. We can identify slow learner, we can identify fast learners, because there is learning analytics is involved. From there, after identifying who are completing these things within shortest possible time, fast learners, they can be assigned some advanced topic. Those who are not in a position to complete it within a reasonable period of time, they can be offered support and guidance. So this differentiated learning is one thing, and then different interest in different, these different aspects. Some is interested in analytical part, some is interested in aesthetical part, some is interested in textual part, and many other things. So in that way, we can create different level of interest. We can treat different, this level of this absorption of all these things in a better way. So this is these are all the dimensions of e-learning systems. Now the thing is, if in our systems, if we want to realize everything, be it management, be it technology, in our technology, what we are seeing that all the silos are getting broken, and this is the time for multidisciplinary approach for looking at everything, from this collaborative and combining knowledge for looking at all these problems from different perspectives. So emergence of design thinking, emergence of agile technology, these are becoming more and more prominent in this current scenario. And for same thing is happening in management education also. In management education, it's earlier format of these organizations, earlier format of treating these human resources, because everything will be happening in digital domain, smart machining, intelligent manufacturing, digital thread, that will be dominating the near future. And accordingly, we need to realign our everything with this the changing scenario of this context. So with this, I think that in future, we have to face significant challenges in restructuring and realigning ourselves with the changing requirement. And if we can do it to the quickest possible time, it is better for everyone. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Dr. Moitra. I think it's wonderful. I think providing, a very interesting part from influence of army to the British that continued. You really made it. And then Industrial Revolution, the evolution which has taken place over time. And then some of the features of digital learning which have taken place. And a teacher, students need not be the consumption of knowledge, but what we say, they should try to be the learner. And therefore, you mentioned about various aspects, serial learner and others, and multi-mode of learning, etc., and social dimension, and continuous assessment and feedback giving, etc. And you mentioned about the multidisciplinary approach we should have it, and the new things like design thinking and agile thinking. So it's a new way really to look at it, and also suggested as to how videos, in fact, it's the shortest 8 minutes or so. I think we need to get into that part of it. And thank you, Dr. Moitra. I think it's wonderful. In fact, how we can use the pedagogy in the digital world, particularly post-COVID-19. So now we are coming to the end of those speakers part. Few questions, in fact, quite a few, in fact, have come. And I think I'll be happy really to take a few questions because we have to finish by 1 in any way. And we have three things to do. So I immediately got some 5 minutes or so. This was the question, is Dr. Metri around? Is he? Dr. Dhar is, of course, here. Maybe he can just take, or any one of them, they can take up the questions. They're very interesting questions. They were saying lifelong learning, everybody mentioned, in fact. And lifelong learning is for the faculty and also for the students. So I'll just take up for the students to begin with. In IIM setup, we have got the students very good in terms of the percentile, and therefore really they are good students. How really to motivate students really to have a learning? So that was one question. In fact, every institution, we should not be comparing every institution with IIMs, though we should have an ideal that way. So anyone can just take up how really to motivate students to get into this. They should be learning. Not because they have been accustomed to having what we say consumption of knowledge, right? Now it's a self-paced, dependent learning process which is going to be there. How really to motivate them?
Okay,
Sir, Sure, sir. Dr. Mike. Yes, sir.
Should I answer?
Sure, sir. Please.
Okay. So there is usually for this current, existing students, all of us to understand that problem is not getting a job. That is a problem. But more important problem is retaining the job. You see, at what you are observing at many places, retaining the job is becoming more challenging. And that is because of the emergence of new subject areas. For those subjects which we do not have enough numbers of these faculties or enough number of instructor or trainer right now, we have to rely on whatever these resources available at internet posted by other these advanced countries, other top universities, particularly in advanced computer programs, advanced theories, advanced technologies, and all these things. And as the situation is moving very fast to this technology and industries, and everything is moving very fast. So we have to keep the students, make the students aware of this changing scenario. Because a basic idea of what is going to happen in near future, that should be available with each and every student. And accordingly, they can build up their own core competency. What is required after 5 years? What is required after 10 years? In that way. And that present level of knowledge is not sufficient enough to cater the need of which will be requiring after 5 years. After 5 years, when Industry 5.0 will emerge, then there will be more man-machine interactions, more customization of products. So for that, we need to know we need to have a more knowledge of biology, computational systems, and these modern computational techniques and tools. More and more programming languages are appearing. Python was not there 10 years, 15 years before. It came only very recently. Python, data science, this R and R program. Previously, people used to program with C and C++, all these things. But as these are happening, so we have to convince the students this change, whatever the changes has taken in the last 5-10 years, and the rate of change will be more fast. And that's why what happened in last 10 years, in near future, that will happen in 10 months, and after that within maybe 10 days. And so in that way, if we cannot upgrade ourselves regularly with the changing scenario, definitely we will be downgrading. This is the thing. If we are not regularly upgrading, we are going to downgrade ourselves. So this should be the philosophy of each and everyone. On a day basis, we need to upgrade ourselves. Otherwise, our value in the market, that will be degrading.
Right, Professor.
Yes.
I request you, sir. Yes, sir. Please do it.
See,
yes.
As I said, the teacher has to be a facilitator now. So, as a facilitator, teacher should be able to provide the right links and the correct links to the students from day to day basis. So for that, teacher has to be up to date himself or herself and keep on engaging the students with the right sites and the right links. That's very important to make it so that continuous learning keeps on happening.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Another question, related one, is we talk about the continuous learning for faculty also. And question is how really to motivate faculty. Everybody is not keen because, you know, learning process is individual also, that you feel individually motivated, you want to learn. And sometimes you feel it, just for example, I am so, it's okay, I have been and I am so, I don't think I need to get into that. So, I mean, something like that. I've learned something, I've been successful in the in-person teaching. So I don't think I get into that part of everything. So how really to motivate faculty, sir? I know we all face these problems. So let us try to, you know, bring those things into the fold. How to do that?
See, in a way, my friend has already answered that partially. Now, today, it is difficult to retain the job. So that applies to teachers also. See, teachers shifted from room to Zoom very quickly. Why? Because it's a matter of survival. So therefore, teachers have to be motivated because they can survive in an organization only when they are up to date.
So you are talking about the very important part, that is a question of the survival. There's absolutely nothing.
Second point, another point I would like to supplement.
Sure.
This millennial generation, this student of this time, they have diversified, you know, this interest and very little attention span. They have very high level of biological intelligence. Artificial intelligence has evolved. Similarly, biological intelligence has also evolved. So students are more smart, more intelligent. If we are not providing something interesting, something attractive to them, they will lose interest and they will not. The teachers will be will be irrelevant out of the context. So that's why, to keep ourselves relevant in the context, we have to continuously upgrade ourselves.
Right. So I think it is individual, and also maybe some sort of the whole circumstances compel people in the faculty to learn also and upgrade and upskill. So I think that is also one of the ways you are just suggesting it. And probably this is also acts as a motivation that in case we want to hold our jobs, so therefore we need to get into that part. So nice, sir. And this is the last question. I think this is we talked about the India with the institutes and the industry interface, and though I think we can always answer how really to get into that, sir, virtual world, how really to go it, and what sort of language. I mean, again, it's a question.
Okay, let me answer it.
Sure, Professor.
Yeah, the thing is, you see, now the future is moving in such a way that anyone can be a part of industry. That will be the industry 5.0, part of industry 5.0. Anyone can be a part of industry. If I have my idea, my innovative idea, I can immediately, you know, translate that idea in industrial manufacturing systems. In that way, industry 5.0 that is emerging. So that's why earlier the thing is the industry had their own standard set of protocols. But right now, I mentioned about agile methods or design thinking. So all these things, if you have idea, then immediately that idea, if it is testable and if it is found to be feasible, then immediately it can be adopted. So that's why in academic institute, the major aspect is young mindset, who have very creative and innovative mindset. Particularly human being has the most active mindset for creation, imagination, for the dreams and all these things in between the ages 17 to 23 and 24 years. And that period they spend at Education Institute. So that's why these industries right now, if they want to leverage or take benefit of these human resources, so they need to have more and more interactions with academic institutes, because this crazy idea, innovative idea, definitely, and if some of them gets clicked, then that will be a case of stupendous success. That's why in near future, it will be there will more, and in US and other places, you can see the Stanford's, MIT, they have all strong connection with industry. At our countries also, IITs are having, but by and large, the culture is not there. But I feel in near future, this is definitely going to happen to take benefit of our young mindset.
Right, sir. Any Dr. Dhar? Yes, sir.
Yeah, to add on, see, now more of partnerships have to take place. Partnership between academic institutions and industry. No lip service now. It has to be a real partnership, and programs. Some programs can be offered together. For example, in my university, we are offering 4 BTech programs in partnership with IBM. When I say partnership, some of the courses are taught by people from IBM. They come to the campus and teach the students. So we shall have to work out the actual relationship with the industry now. And it is easier now because we have this virtual platform. We have to strengthen our relationship with the industry, and that will be very important in the future.
Right, sir. So nice. Thank you very much for providing such a very interesting part of this and question answer this. And also, I think it gives us also an idea how really we can really move forward. Just to conclude, because I'll take not much time, 2-3 minutes. I think it has been very enriching discussions. We had it from all these speakers. They have been authority in the field of the management education. I must add on my personal note a few things about what industry we are just looking for and how as a management education we looked at it. I joined IIM Lucknow in the initial stages when it was formed. And right from then onwards till today, I'm in listening that we are not teaching as a business school what the industry looks for. There's a gap. In fact, what we teach is very different than what the industry looks for. Now, we have been in a dilemma. Every time we have tried really to bridge this gap as a faculty, I think the gap was filled, but another gap was again emerged, and therefore it was a wider gap, and we could not really refill it. Probably, and I understand, I conceptualize that change is very fast. We tried as a faculty, as a business school, we tried, in fact, in our way, but I think the changes are so fast, therefore it was very difficult. It continued. Then came your industrial revolutions, all that and stuff like, and finally industrial revolution 4, there is a drastic change which is taking place in the industry, right? Now the point still remains that we need as a business school, because we are the deans and directors, we need to be very agile, how really we should cope up and find out fill up this gap which exists with the industry requirements and the academia. All said and done, we look for students to have a nice career in the industry. PGDM programs, MBA programs, mostly they are being sold for the basis of the placement which they really go for in the industry. I do not know whether you agree, but that is what my experience has been for the last 45 years. I have worked in the industry, I have worked in the university, I have worked in the private sector, I have worked in IIM, I have worked in MDI. Therefore, I can really very much conclude this is what has been happening. Though academic debates is one part. I mean, we keep on debating, but fact still remains. But what is important is that now there is a COVID-19 has provided us a big challenge. And this challenge is we have taken up as a faculty and a business school. Not that technology was not there earlier. No, it was very much there. But we use this technology at our own pace and at our own style. For example, I mean, I have never taught online. Let me very finally admit it. I have been teaching, in fact, all through, though I have been director for many, many years, but I have never taught, I have never left teaching, and I have never taught online. But during this COVID-19 era, I've learned now. I'm comfortable with Zoom. I'm comfortable with Microsoft Teams. I'm comfortable with Google Meet. And now we're telling the students, point I'm making is very simple, that this COVID-19 has provided us now that urgency is required. It's not at my pace. No, I have to learn it, because immediately after when the institutes open, I have to teach. So at my pace, no, at the pace which is required in the industry, that's what we look for. Secondly, the style is not something, theek hai, ho jayega. No, it has to be. So the point remains that COVID-19 has to be taken as a challenge. And I think we need really to get into much faster. Skill set, which we all are aware, we need to implement, because execution is the key. And that is what we have really to get into that. I think that has been probably the thinking all around with all the speakers and all the things. Barring those, I think we have limitations. I don't think we can really say it, or we can at a macro level. At the institute level also, I think as mentioned that infrastructure has to be technological infrastructure, and yet to be increased and so on. Faculty needs to be trained, which we all are doing mostly. I don't think it's not that we are not doing. I think therefore these sessions of this type help us to understand how we really get into this part. I must thank the organizers, Professor Bhattacharya, Professor Patra. In fact, we have this Eastern region, in fact, on behalf of AIMS. We got the deans and directors meet here, and we got shared a lot of thinking as to how, we can go ahead in the management education in the future with such a very eminent speakers who have been down to earth, mentioning about the very practical aspects, how we should be going about that part of the thing. So nice of you. And also my thanks to both of you, Professor Bhattacharya and Professor Patra, for giving me this privilege and an opportunity to moderate the whole discussion relating to this Deans and Directors meet on the management education, which is so dear to my heart, in fact, for that. A few questions, of course, were relating to aims, which I don't think we will take them up. For example, can we have a cable-based television for imparting education as an aims? I think it's a bigger project. I think a good idea is a noble idea, and I think this needs to be taken up in our board meeting. But I think it takes a lot of things, a lot of efforts. Our role is very different. Can we really get into implementing it? Are we helping people really to implement, or are we implementing ourselves? Now, those are some of the questions we need to discuss, debate, and probably try to get into that. But I think these are good questions which have been asked by a number of people, those who have been participating in this case. Again, thanks to them also. They have been actively participating. That's what we refer to engagement of the audience. This is important. And all the speakers were able to do it. Thank you very much, Professor Bhattacharya, Professor Patra, and all team which was managing, in fact, the whole show relating to Swati. You have been very nice anchor, I must mention. Thank you very much. Over to you. Over to you now.
Thank you, Dr. Rattan Sharma, sir. Thank you to all the dignitaries for your engaging insights and valuable inputs. This will definitely lead us through. Dr. Ramakanta Patra completed his graduation and post-graduation from Kolkata University, LLB, 2 years, Masters in Personal Management, PhD in Human Resource Accounting from Bhopal University. He has more than 12 years of experience in different industries and 26 years in academics, including 14 years at National Institute of Technology, Bhopal, KIIT University. And he was acknowledged by the Government of India as the best work and received Granting Aid for the publication. May I now request Dr. Ramakanta Patra, sir, a principal of Bhavan's Institute of Management Science, to kindly propose his vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all present over here, my respected eminent speakers who are present over here. I must first thank Dr. Metri, who has accepted our invitation to grace the occasion, Dr. Saikat Maitra, Vice Chancellor, Macaut, who has kindly accepted, and in spite of his busy schedule also, he has come and given his time for us. So thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Upinder Dhar, and he has also accepted our request, and he was kind enough to be present over here. And lastly, I would thank to Dr. Rattan Sharma, who has been agreed to be the moderator of this program, and nicely. And at the end, I will not take more time. I think all of you are hungry. And lastly, I will say that today from the this program, we have learned one thing, that the COVID has given us some challenge as well as some opportunities. So we have to accept both the challenge as well as the opportunity which are lying ahead. We have to accept this opportunity, grab this opportunity for the betterment of the institute, betterment of self, as well as the betterment of the student also. So now the main thing which was discussed today, I can understand that we have to understand the students' need, corporate need, and accordingly we have to deliver. Okay, now we have to be very careful, because as you just discussed, that we have to update fast. Otherwise, survival of the individual, survival of the institute will be in problem. So keeping this thing in mind, I once again thank all of you, and thank to my organizing team, Dr. Gairik Das, Dr. Tapas Saha, Dr. Jyoti Nair, and Major General Sapra. All have worked very hard to give their input and for the success of the organization. And first of all, I again want to thank the AIMS headquarters, Mr. Venkateswarilu and Mr. Joshi, who has provided all the support for this technical support, as well as Swati, Biswarup. They worked really very hard for the success of the organization. Once again, thank you very much. And I will request everybody to participate in the second half of the program. There is a faculty development program on digital learning and teaching. This will start sharp at 2 o'clock. We have also good eminent speakers for this program also. So thank you once again. Swati.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your esteemed presence. With this, I take your leave from coordinating at the inaugural session. Dr. Pallavi Ghosh from ICFAI Business School will coordinate the second session on faculty development program. We break for lunch and meet again at 2 p.m. as sir has already mentioned. Thank you, everyone.